Woo, guys, what's up? Nick here with another video. Today is hot. High is in the upper 80s, which is actually cooler than it's been, but I'm fully kitted out here with good riding jacket and good pants. I was actually planning on doing a top speed run, but the bike is not going to be able to swing it in this heat. Additionally, I've got the vents open on this jacket, and while it is very nice for ventilation, I don't think I'm going to get too hot. It does get a little bit difficult to maintain a higher speed because the jacket basically becomes a parachute. So, no top speed run. We're just going to cruise around, talk about some stuff. Let me know in the comments, by the way, what you want to hear me talk about. If I'm going to be moto vlogging, I usually don't talk while I ride because it tends to require quite a bit of focus for me to be able to do either one. Trying to do both at the same time, I can't do either one quite as well. This road that we're on is actually called 420 North, as funny as that is. Can't show you the sign because it's always stolen, as you can imagine. And it's quite a long road, actually. It runs all the way into... I was going to go down that road, but I'm actually going to go a different way. I'm going to go into downtown. Historic downtown Frankfort, the capital city of Kentucky. Might as well be called the sleepy capital city of Kentucky. Population is not nearly as high as the other bigger cities that you may or may not have heard of if you're from the United States. Louisville, or Louisville, if you're from here, is probably the biggest city in Kentucky, and then Lexington as well. I guess we're kind of famous for the Derby, so maybe you have heard of these cities and heard of Frankfurt. Off to the east of us, which is where I'm thinking we're going to ride, is Versailles, Kentucky in Woodford County. A lot of nice horse farms out there. We may try and go check that out before the GoPro dies or overheats. We'll see. But, yeah, so Frankfort, Kentucky. It's not a really big town. You may have seen my other ride where I just rode on this road that we're actually getting ready to get on, which is 421, known locally as the East-West Connector. Basically just giving you guys directions on how to get around Frankfurt at this point. Oh, there, you can see it, 420 North. So they run together here. And we're going to get back on... Well, we're not going to get back on 420, actually. We're going to get on, I think, 1669. Here I still get some of those nice burbles. I don't know if you can hear it over the mic. I've got the mic tucked up in my headset in kind of a janky way, actually. Oh, do I have to come to a complete stop? No foot, no foot, no foot, no foot, no foot. Yeah. Team no feet. Balance the bike at a standstill. You know you're doing a good job. Practice it. It's pretty handy at stop signs when you know you need to get there. Stop dead, and then you can go. I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear me over the motor at speed. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad. This bike has been going really well. I actually dusted it off after the winter, gave it an oil change. We're going strong. Speed limit on this road is 55. I guess we'll speed up a little bit here. So I found out my speedometer. So when I did the correction, let's go by the jail. When I did my speedometer correction, I actually corrected it a bit too aggressively, and we are, it actually reads a little low now, which I would normally rather have it read high. But, yeah, so at like 55, we're actually doing about 58. Which is nothing on that stretch of road. The speed limit is 55, but people regularly drive 80. So on this little bike, where 80 is the top speed, pretty much. Oh, look, a baby deer! Little baby fawn! Aw. Hopefully you guys caught that. Gotta be on the lookout for deer. It is like fawning season, so definitely don't want to hit any size deer. However, for me, I guess a baby would be preferable because it'd be the least likely to kill me on the bike, but I prefer not to hit a fawn. We usually get a few of those in our yard this time of year, but we haven't seen any yet. We've seen some of the does, but no fawns. I don't know what's up with that. There it is, Kentucky State Police Training Academy. Good old boys. I actually like the state police in Kentucky for the most part. I've only been stopped by one state trooper. I was in an old car and I was trying to pass somebody, and there's the jail. Hang on, we'll get distracted a few times here. There's the jail. That's where you don't want to go. I've never been inside myself, but you know, I can say it's a place that I would not like to go. I can tell you where I would like to go is this little spot in here. I don't know what that is or how far back it goes, but there's no trespassing, and I know there's guys with guns that guard that, so never had the urge to really go in there, but maybe I could get permission since I'm decent friends with some of the people who work there. I don't know. But yeah, so story of getting stopped. I was in an old car, and I was on a road that we'll probably end up on. I'll be sure to mention it, but I was trying to go around somebody. The speed limit there is 55. Again, people regularly go 80. I was going about 60 and passing this car, and then out of nowhere, a car shot up from behind me, cut me off with like inches to spare, and then another car, a giant SUV, I think it was a Lexus, just pulled up right behind me and was like flashing their brights. And so they were on my tail, so it's not like I could hit my brakes and slow down, because by this point I was beside the car that I was originally passing. And so I decided, well, I'll just give it some gas. Well, this old Volvo, which I still have, you may have actually seen in some of my videos, has a turbo regulator hose that basically detects how much pressure is in the manifold and then bleeds it off back into the intake instead of like a blow-off valve. It's for noise reduction. And that hose blew clean off. So while I had a boost leak, I also had no way to open up the other actuator for the wastegate. So it overboosted, and I shot from 60 to about 93 in less than a second. I had no idea that this had happened. I just knew that I got around the car, I got out of the way. I thought, great, I'm good. And then I saw blue lights behind me, and I thought, oh, good, I don't know what those guys were up to, but I'm glad I don't have any part of it, and, you know, hopefully this guy will just go on. Well, state trooper decided to stop me. And I thought, okay, whatever, this is weird, but at this point in time, I did have a white hood on my blue Volvo while I was painting the blue hood, and it kind of looked like a race car, so I thought, okay, maybe he just thought I was part of that, or maybe he just wants to ask me a question about what just happened. Still didn't realize that I was had been going so fast. And so he pulls me over, I sit there, I get my license and registration and insurance out and all that, and everything's, you know, good there. I always stay up to date on all of that. He comes up, he's not real happy, but he is calm. He says, I'm just going to ask you one question, sir. Why? I said, why what, officer? And I think he thought I was being a smartass, because he was like, do you have any idea how fast you were going? And at that point I said, officer, I'm probably like 70 or 75, but I can explain. He said, I clocked you doing 93 in a 55. I said, 93? I didn't even know this car would go that fast. He was like, I saw you racing with those other cars. I said, officer, I was not racing. I promise you, like, this car cannot do this. I was like, that guy came up behind me. I just tried to get out of the way. I was like, I don't expect you to believe me. If you got to write me a ticket, I understand. But I did not know I was going that fast, and I did not intend to go that fast at any point throughout this. He said, well, I bet I caught you before your little radar detector there even detected me. At this point, I had a dash cam, because I was living actually in Lexington, Kentucky, where if you've ever been there, you know that it's notoriously bad for drivers and people who will intentionally swerve in front of you and brake check you, I guess, to cause a rear-end collision and maybe get some insurance money. Oh yeah, this all collapsed at one point. They filled it back in. This road was actually closed for a while. I did one of my videos where I rode out here past the barriers and took a look at some stuff, but we're going to go past a few distilleries here in a bit. A lot of gravel on the road here, so we've got to be careful. So he took my license, registration. I don't know if it was my unique name or if he knew somebody I know, or if he just saw that my driving record was clean, which, by the way, guys, I have a fully clean driving record. I always go the speed limit, or at least within a safe number of miles per hour of the speed limit, just because I don't want to get pulled over. And, you know, knowing what I know about highway safety, the speed limits are there for a reason, generally speaking. Obviously, there's some places, but like on this road, speed limit's 35. You can see why. A lot of gravel, some blind entrances, some sharp turns, blind turns. So I take them slow, take them a little bit wide, at least on the left-hand bends, and then on the right ones I try to cut in a little bit, so I swing wide and then cut in so I can see through the turn. But so yeah, so maybe it was the clean driving record, I don't know. But he came back, he said, "Sir, I think you've been truthful with me. I don't know what happened back there, but I believe you were not a part of it." He was like, "I'm just gonna give you your stuff." He's like, "You have a good day, get that thing fixed." Oh yeah, because I had told him that the car, like I said, the dash lit up like a Christmas tree. I don't know what happened, so he's like, "Get that thing fixed." He's like, "Have a nice day." And then he got back in his vehicle and he sped off. So I can only assume that the two people involved initially were, you know, they were up to no good of some kind, whether they were racing or it was road rage or running drugs. We do see some of that in Kentucky because we have 64 and 75 that run right through the middle of the state, so it's a pretty straight shot between Tennessee and Ohio to run drugs, guns, people, whatever. That was a problem for a while. I don't think that officer thought I was anything to do with that. I think he just thought I was racing. And the car, I guess, kind of looked like a race car at that point. However, really not, guys. It's a 1998 Volvo. I'll try to throw a picture up so you guys can see it. It's not a fast car. It's quick. It's faster than it looks, but it's not super fast. All right, so we're coming up on Hanley Lane here on the left, which we could shortcut and get out. It's actually a fun little ride. It's very twisty, very narrow though. So we also have these distilleries, and we have bourbon tours that come through here. So there's tour buses that go down that, and it's just not always a safe situation. Whew, I can smell that bourbon off gassing today. Whew. It smells good. I grew up here, so I guess it just always kind of smelled good to me. Reminds me of home. This is different than the Sour Mash smell, because those are the aging, like, warehouses. And coming up on Castle and Key, you gotta watch for pedestrians here and bicyclists. I'm all for sharing the road, but good grief. When you have bicyclists going 15 miles an hour in a 55 in the middle of the lane, you know, obviously you don't want anyone to get hit, but it's kind of hard to sympathize when they do, because it's just like, what did you expect on a road like this? Like, it's 35 here, but this road does go all the way up to 55. So that was Castle and Key Distillery. Now we're coming up on Midway, Kentucky is where we'll be here pretty soon. You'll know that you were in Midway when you see the sign that says, "Thanks for visiting Midway." I don't think they actually have a sign, but it's a tiny, tiny little town, and a beautiful, beautiful little town, actually. I hope that it never gets much more developed than it is, because the people are just very nice through here. Very motorcycle friendly. You know, fairly bicyclist friendly. We have to watch this intersection as well, because we have those bourbon tours again that come through. Oh, slow speed. It's hot. Might have to stop and get a drink of water, or get on a higher speed road. Yeah, so this is Midway. So yeah, that's the story of my one and only interaction in a law enforcement scenario with the state police. I've had to work with state police on a number of things, on other things, even through work. But the only point where I had done something wrong, so to speak, or was in a position. That's not the only time I've been stopped either. I've been stopped several times, and always just just got out of it. Like I said, I generally don't speed, but that was an exception. Another time I got stopped, it was because I was going backwards down an on-ramp to avoid a really bad traffic backup in an impending ice storm. And this was actually a local police officer who was like about as high-strung as Barney Fife. He pulled over probably 6 people who were all doing the same thing, and he gave us a good yelling at, but he didn't even give us a warning because he basically understood the circumstances. I don't know why he felt the need to essentially waste everyone's time in doing that, but whatever, bro. You gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. That one I would do again, because I didn't want to get stuck in the ice storm and end up in the same situation as the person who had wrecked. We'll do our little silly motorcycles thing here for the Harley boys. I actually don't have anything against Harleys. I don't really like super big bikes like that, but I don't have anything against the riders. Uh-oh. I heard the GoPro beep. Ah, this ride might get cut short, guys. Wonder if we can... There's the Millville Community Center. Looks like a little farmer's market. What a time to be sitting outside like that. Yeah, McCracken Pike. This will take us all the way to Versailles. I know you can hear me, but you might not even be able to see what I'm looking at now. This looks like a nice straight spot to make a U-turn. Nobody behind me. Also, if you can't make a U-turn on a 2-lane road on a Grom, probably should not be on a motorcycle. We're just gonna head back because I think the GoPro's overheating. Stupid GoPro. Oh yeah, Buckley Wildlife Sanctuary is out here. We'll go out there one day too. This heat just makes everything so much more difficult to deal with. Very hot. I'm getting hot. Probably part of the reason I'm thinking it's a good idea to turn back. I don't want to get too hot and too far out. You can always stop and get a drink and cool off, but nevertheless, man, when it's hot like this, you got to be careful riding. It's easy to get overheated. This gear, it's good. It's better to sweat than it is to bleed. What's his name? Who is that guy? Is it Dan the fireman? He says I'd rather sweat than bleed. I think that's true for most of us, but man, in some cases it's a pretty tough call. So maybe I'd bleed a little bit if I didn't have to sweat quite as much. Didn't bring any water with me because I didn't want to wear my backpack because it's so hot. Staying in the shade of these trees is definitely helping. So stop talking about run-ins with the police because this isn't that kind of channel. We'll talk about this bike. So if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that this is a Chinese Grom clone that I ordered from Amazon. It's $1,200 plus $400 to ship it, so $1,600 plus tax, of course. Registration process was pretty easy in Kentucky. I know there's other states where it's a bit more difficult, but registration process was pretty simple. Basically, I just had to go to my local sheriff's department. See, here I am talking about the police again. They're unavoidable. I had to go to my local sheriff's department, get an inspection performed, which is nothing. You know, if you have you have a brand new vehicle, I mean, you obviously check it out first. I had to assemble it out of the crate. I took it on a couple of short test rides just up and down my road to make sure it wasn't going to fail inspection somehow. And inspection passed. The whole process there took like 5 minutes. They give you a bill of sale and a certificate of origin, and so you get the VIN number. You have the inspection performed. I had them come out to my house to do the inspection, and then you can go to the clerk's office and actually get it tagged and registered. So that's kind of nice. That's a nice, easy process. Oh, traffic. I bet the people who moved out here because it's nice and quiet love all the traffic up and down here. I mean, I know I'm part of it right now, but motorcycles have pretty much always been a part of the culture in Millville, so probably don't mind that as long as you're not ripping through on a crotch rocket. But all the extra traffic and the buses hauling people, these distilleries were closed for a long time, so it's not like, you know, some of these people probably lived their whole lives without this type of traffic on this road. But yeah, so I got it registered. It came with a 125cc, which actually for this type of riding is plenty. Here, we'll go up Hanley Lane. We'll get out of this traffic if I haven't missed it already. Oh, that was Glens Creek Distilling. What am I saying? Not Castle and Key. Which for this type of riding, it's fine, but on those roads where people, like I said, regularly drive 80 and a 55, I wanted to be able to at least go 55, which the other one could with the sprocket. The 125cc motor could with the sprocket upgrade, but it really had a hard time going 55. I mean, it would be at, like, according to the odometer, it would be like 10,000 RPM. So, you know, that's pretty darn, I mean, that's like red line on this bike. So, just avoided that. Got went for a bigger motor. Went for the 190cc, because I got the Zhongchen. It's the 2-valve, not the 4-valve. If I ever blow this one up, I may swap it for the Daytona 212. Oh yeah, put the dust in my lungs. It's good for you. And that swap was really straightforward. I have a video on how I did it, actually. I didn't go into great detail on it because, well, I'm not an engine mechanic. Don't go up Hanley. Yes. My road. So you can see this is real steep and narrow. No problem for the 190cc though. This thing does have plenty of power. Like I said, I've had it at 85 miles an hour on a flat, not even a downhill, just on a non-windy day. Oh, we gotta hug the inside here. The other side that's almost, you know, sheer drop. You don't want to go tumbling down that on a bike or a car. You may actually stand a better chance on a bike. If you're going slow, you'll probably just tumble and get caught in the brush, but in a car, it's not going to be fun. The car's going to want to keep rolling. But yeah, that swap was straightforward. To get the engine out, you just pull the chain off, 2 bolts, hold it in, and then I did the washer method to reinforce the existing stuff. However, these newer ones, like this is a 2022, they the mounts are a lot more sturdy. So I don't know if whoever was making these just decided, hey, we're going to do that, because it's not like the Chinese companies making these are really thinking about the rider in the United States. But I don't know. So I wasn't too worried about it, but I did do upgraded bolts to hold it, and I did washers as well to kind of help reinforce it. I didn't weld anything, but it doesn't shift around at all. And then the wiring was also very easy. There is a video out on YouTube about how to do it, but if you just look at the two harnesses, like, it just straight up makes sense on how it's supposed to go in. And then I was able to recycle the shift cable. I can't remember at this point, it's been 2 years, but just hooked that in, and now I still have shift indicator for gears. It's just in 5th gear where I am now. You don't get any gear indication, but that's fine. That's how I know I'm in 5th. Dropped to 4th, and that guy decided he wants both lanes. He wants a jacked up truck. I need the whole road. Why do people do that? I have a big truck. I don't jack it sky high. I don't take 2 lanes. Like, learn to drive, dude. But yeah, the swap was really straightforward. Didn't really need any guidance. I did pull apart the side, and it looked like the whole, what they call the shift star mod or whatever, for the, like, slipping between gears and stuff. That was already done, but I did not properly torque the bolt that holds all of that assembly together when I put it all back together. So I ended up having slipping anyway, and I had to tear it all apart. And actually somebody commented with what I should check when I found that I was having that issue on a bike that had supposedly been fixed. So they commented, and I checked it out, and sure enough, I hadn't torqued that bolt properly. So since then, I've had no issue, other than occasionally it seems like it slips in 5th gear if I'm lugging it at all. Man, I would love to just tear through this field. I know exactly where that is over there, but that's fine. So that's really been the only issue. And then I got an exhaust from Bullock Performance. Hey, there's 64. Just the mid pipe, and then I just have an Amazon exhaust, and I have 2 baffles in the exhaust now to make it tolerable. Which certainly, it really does. This engine loves to breathe, so like I can't like get on it like I could, because I'm afraid the back pressure will blow it up, for one, and then additionally it just doesn't have the pickup. And I think I lost a little bit on the top end. I have not done a top speed run since I put this new baffle in, but I could definitely feel the performance a little bit. I could probably tune the carburetor a little bit, but honestly it still has plenty of power. Alright. See, so here, it's 25, but we'll push it a little bit. We'll go 30, 32, just because that's what people tend to drive, and this bike is not super visible. You may notice I'm like all over the road here, but you can see pothole, gravel patch, dirt patch. You kind of got to be aware of that. Use the whole lane when you're riding on small roads like this. I mean, probably big roads as well, but to a lesser extent on a bigger bike. I know this from having ridden a bigger bike on a bigger road. You'll see once we get back on 421 here. I know we're coming back a different way, but once we get back on 421, you'll see what I'm talking about. As far as the get up and go from my first video where I took it out. Also, it loves to shoot oil out of the vent hose if you really get on it and then let off suddenly, which tends to be what you do in a top speed run, because you got to slow down pretty quick. But put a 17-tooth front sprocket on this. Makes wheelies a little more difficult, but they're still doable in first gear at least. And I've had no issues with maintaining top speed, even uphill. Going highway speed like this, 55. It handles it with ease. It's probably going to struggle a little bit because this jacket is essentially a parachute, like I said. Again, I don't even know if you can hear me right now. 55 is no problem. 55, 60, 65, no issue. Get up around 70, it starts getting a little squirrely. Nice doe there out in the middle of the day. She probably has a fawn somewhere over in the shade. We have a lot of deer in Kentucky. They're basically like rats. They were almost hunted to extinction during the Depression, and then now they're so overpopulated that we finally have chronic wasting disease in Kentucky. So, which that only serves to de-incentivize people from hunting even more. So that's not ideal. Hey, there's where we went. It's Glens Creek. We'll push it on up to 60. Let it off grad. It's gonna shoot oil all over our back. I don't know what to do with the routing of that. I even thought about welding a bung to the exhaust and attaching the hose, the vent hose to that, so that I could just dump the oil into the hot exhaust, because I'd rather burn it than dump it on the road or dump it on my tire. But I don't know. A lot of people say get a catch can, but that's more weight, and that's something else you have to change, and it's something else that can fail catastrophically if it falls off the bike or something. This bike is, it's a clone of a Grom. It's not like it's the smoothest ride. Like the Grom is not the smoothest ride in the world, and then this thing even is, worse than that. It's all cheap Chinese parts to the point where people replace a lot of this stuff just because they don't trust it. I've heard a lot of people recommending using the front brake a lot, which, that's good for bleeding off a lot of speed, especially at higher speeds. But that's not so great for doing low speed cornering and turns. So don't forget that you have a rear brake and that dragging it definitely helps out your stability. Road is called Big Eddy. Big Eddy. Don't know why. I would think it's named after some kind of eddy current that naturally happens in the river here. But since we're in Kentucky, probably just a big dude named Eddie used to live back here. And a car looking like, oh no, that was just the sun. Thought that car was running. So many potholes and loose gravel on this road. really have to watch. These little tiny tires just can't take it up. Oh yeah, what tires do you guys recommend? I still have the ones that came on the bike. They've got almost 2,000 miles on them. They're actually surprisingly grippy and way better than I thought they would be. But for what I like doing with this bike, I actually like taking it off the road a little bit. They are not grippy enough. So I'd be would love to have some suggestions for some different tires that have, you know, a little bit more grip off-road without sacrificing too much cornering ability on-road. Place for sale. It's hard to sell houses down here. They're in the floodplain. Somebody will buy it though. Somebody like this guy who likes the Land Cruiser. Actually, that was a pretty sweet old Land Cruiser. It's 35 through there, now it's 55, but I'm probably not even gonna get to that. Yeah, there's nobody behind me. I'm just gonna chill here at like 45. Look out, squirrel. Look out, squirrel. Good grief. Swirlage. I hope I got the camera angle set decently and you guys can actually see. Didn't even bother to check, actually. This could have all been a waste. Total waste, other than a nice ride on a hot day. We may one day go do some exploring on this bike. So I've ridden these roads a lot, but it'd be nice to take it out on some roads I've never been on before. With that other baffle in the drone is not nearly as bad. So just rides all nice. Alright guys, well, I've run out of things to say, so I think I'm probably going to end this video here. Thanks for joining me on this ride. Don't forget to like if you liked it. Leave comments down below about stuff you want to see or stuff you think I'm doing wrong or how dumb you think I am. I don't really care. Just to appreciate the conversation. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, as well as the other videos that I put out on my weird channel. And I'll see you in the next video.